Yo, what's up everyone? Kyrios here, and we're going to go over our top 5 mistakes that you should not be making. Now, I'm going to tell you how to not make those mistakes, but before we go anywhere, hit me up in the comments on a starter guide or any of the things you're confused about, and I would like to get your feedback on a video I should make, because I know I haven't made that one yet, depending on when you're watching this video. So, without further ado, like and subscribe. Go check out our Tower Fantasy playlist on the channel, and let's get started. All right, first off, before we get talking about the gifts and where you get them every day and the thing you don't want to make a mistake about, we need to talk about what 𝙀𝙓𝙋𝘼𝙉𝘿 is and what it provides to the characters in their traits and talents. So in this game, they have a thing called affection, and what you can do is you can give each of your characters gifts that raises their affection. Now, what that's going to do is that it's going to unlock different voice acting and a bunch of other different things, but ever at 1200 and 4000 is actually going to unlock a special trait. Now, as you can see here, you can see my Linyi has that 1200 trait, which gives her Night Bloom explosion damage increased by 15%. And as you can see here, almost every single character, I mean, I take that back. Every single character does have this, so this is why it's super important that you get gifts every day, especially free gifts. So let's talk about where those are. The first location you get a free gift is at the black market every day. You can find that on your map here. And then all you have to do is talk to this vendor, select the top options, and he'll give you 2 randomized boxes, and you just choose one of them. You won't know which one's which. Sometimes you'll get some epic gifts in there, sometimes you won't, but you'll get gifts every day. Now, the second location does require getting up to Ciphers, which if you have seen my How to Get an SSR Relic Day 1, you can get the Ciphers on Day 1, so you might as well start farming this. Once you're up there, if you go past the main tent, you'll find this arcade machine, which has a claw machine that you can play 3 times. Now, sometimes you'll get very unlucky and you won't be able to pick up any in the 50 seconds that you have. But if you try to go after those wolf fox looking eternal things, those are the epic gifts, and you can do this 3 times a day. So don't make the mistake of not doing this, because the longer you wait on gifts, the less powerful your characters are going to be, because those traits are sometimes really important. All right, I wanted to do this one a little ad hoc. Now, the black crystals are super important, mainly because there's only going to be so many you can get. Now, there's going to be a ton of them in the beginning of the game, because you're going to have to go open all these chests, do all these activities, do this, do the story, do that, do this. Right, you're going to get a bunch of them to the point that you're probably going to get enough to get the 120 pity. Yes, I said 120. We know that 80 is the pity, but that's a 50-50. 120 will get you to that first maybe limited summon, and that's kind of where I'm going with this, is that I just wanted to quickly show that, like, there's only certain places that you can get black crystals, whether it's from your weekly activities, your daily login, doing some of your world exploration. Like, once again, that's one time, so it is what it is on that one. And then you have some from like PvP, Break Fate. Now Break Fate is the BR. You guys aren't going to have that, but PvP and a few other locations on top of that. So what I really want to drive home is that everyone wants characters. Everyone wants weapons, whether it be any of the weapons that are coming out 1.0, any of the big weapons coming out in 2.0, or anything like that. And especially if you're free to play, you have to be very careful. So I saw this mistake done many times through the closed beta, and I just don't want to see you guys make this mistake. Is that you can see here, I've been saving. Now, I've been doing some new areas, but I've been saving for like a month. I have like 160 of these of the gold nuclei. Now, you get 1 every day. You also get some from the welfare system if you have the battle pass, all that goodness. Please do not spend black crystals on these nuclei or on the proof of purchase. Do not do that. First, you're going to get a ton of proof of purchases just by doing events and a bunch of other things, and you can farm a lot of those SSR chipsets, and we'll get to that later on in the video. And then you're just going to get these, right? You're going to get like 700 plus summons a year on the general banner, and then some of your limiteds do go in as a bonus tip, as a TLDR of something to look forward to that maybe some of you don't know is that the limiteds, after they've been out for so long, they do go to the general banner. So please make sure you're only using your black crystals for mainly trying to summon limiteds, and mainly the limited weapons. Now, if you're a big old whale, right, just throw everything I said out the window and just summon whatever you want. But this is really slated for free to play. Okay, mistake number 3. And this one, we're coming back to the camera for this one again. Joint operation. Stop wasting your energy in joint operation. Now, the one thing I will say is you should still be playing joint operation, because you can still get the points towards your weekly to be able to complete the weekly, but just by playing with your friends or playing with just randos in joint operation. But the reason why I say that, in the early game, that is totally not your focus. And even in the mid game, if you look at all these dungeons, yeah, they look really enticing and everything like that, but a lot of people are going to be level 25, level 31, level 37, and until like 43. Even at 43, this isn't that enticing. Let me move my camera up here real quick. Even at 43, this is not that enticing. I guess I'm gonna go right in the middle. Jeez, I don't want to cover this up. So you can see that you get purple gear, but man, you guys are gonna get purple gear really easily just by using energy and using your orbs in the shop. And then you're gonna be really tempted to get these SSR matrices. But until you get to at least like number 6, maybe like number 7, 6 or 7, when it starts dropping that epic gear, then that's when it matters a little bit more. And that's when I would probably start doing it. Now, on the flip side of that, you're going to be like, well, where do I get gear from and stuff like that? Well, every little bit of energy you spend is essentially going to give you gear. You will see some materials pop up as soon as I use that beacon. Right? Bam, EXP. I get those orbs, purple orbs, orange orbs, and then you'll end up using those orbs to buy a lot of the gear that you want. Right? So you're going to have all this, we're going to move the camera again. You're going to have all this blue gear, so you'll be able to fill this in, which, by the way, you can get blue gear for free through dungeoning. So I would highly suggest doing dungeons first. Hoard all these resources until you don't need them. And then buy the pieces of purple gear that you just don't get from getting chests and a bunch of other things. And then you just save up. And then when it finally starts dropping gold and you're trying to get the perfect set and you're just trying to get better substats and everything like that, that's when you're going to start doing some joint operation. The last thing I will say to that is that what I highly suggest you focus on are really your weapons. Get your weapons leveled up. Get them ascended, get them all the way up to level 90, 80, 90, whatever. Work on getting some of your matrices leveled up. You're gonna need level up materials for that. So that's why like interstellar exploration and really just dimension trials is really your go-to. Look, you have a whole bunch of selectors of ascension materials for your weapons. You still get all of those orbs that we talked about and some EXP material ups to be able to level up your weapons. And then you could also do it on the flip side and get matrix these DPs on top of that. So please avoid joint operation. You can go play it, you can go have fun, but if you're opening those chests, it's really a waste of energy and you're kind of setting yourself back. All right, so let's talk about the first thing first, which are these ciphers, and we will have a bonus tip for this one as well. Now, you'll see if I have my map key, I have a whole bunch of different ciphers. Now, I actually have more ciphers than you guys can see, right? CN version, right, and a whole nother area. But we're gonna have blue, purple, and gold ciphers. Now, they're used to open different things. The blue and purple are used to open these triangles that you see next to me. And those triangles give you materials and they give you EXP and a bunch of things. And then the gold ones are for any of the world bosses. So when you kill a world boss, you can open up their chest for a chance at loot. So let's talk about just the mistake that most people are making. In the beginning of the game, you're going to be hitting these level caps, whether it's level 18, whether it's level 23, whether it's level 27, 32, 30. I can't remember when the level cap finally releases. I think it's somewhere in the 40s, but do not use your ciphers if you're already at level cap. because all that EXP, assuming, well, let me say this. You can see my EXP bar all the way at the bottom. It's very tiny. I'll try and blow it up. That EXP will fill up. But if that bar fills up all the way, because you're just playing day 1 and day 2 and day 3 and all that goodness, you're just not going to get any EXP for it. Now, you can't open up multiple at a time. Let me just open it. You'll see all that EXP fly by on my screen, which is a nice little chunk. So if that bar is full, don't be using your ciphers the day that you're playing. Wait till the next day when the level cap goes away, or the next week when the level cap goes away, and don't waste those. Now, here's the other pro tip I would say, is that when Vera finally opens up, a little bit of a spoiler, but when the second area opens up, they improved the triangle boxes to be able to drop epic loot and a few of other things. So one of the strategies you can do is save essentially all of your blue ciphers and all of your purple ciphers. And that's actually what I'm going to do. Pro tip, I'm actually going to save it until we hit 2.0, and then I'm going to start using it to see if I can get some accelerated gear and to be able to level faster. Now, on to the bonus tip. Bonus tip. All right, so the bonus tip is that you can only get so many of these ciphers a week. I've already said that. And you can see here off your dailies, this is where you're getting these ciphers, is by doing your dailies and going up the grind. Now, you can see I just got one right there. Now, what I would say is that be very, very careful. In the beginning of the game, you're gonna see a lot of people shouting for world bosses. You'll be like, oh man, we're doing the Thorn boss. Who wants to join in, right? And actually, the Thorn boss is actually a good example of using one. You really want to look at these chipsets. You only want to be doing the bosses with the chipset you're looking for. And Two-Piece King is actually pretty good. So that's actually a good one right there. And you just really got to look. Maybe you don't want Crow. Maybe you don't have Crow. So maybe there's no reason to open up this boss. So just go around and take a look at all the chipsets here. Maybe you don't have Tsubasa, right? This only really works for Tsubasa. Some highlights here would be Crow, Shiro. I'm trying to find Shiro on the fly, right? I'm doing this on the fly. Not really Meryl. There's Shiro. So like maybe these two bosses would be your go-to, right? So just make sure you're looking at the bosses before you use your ciphers, because if you're going to be picking up SSRs for characters, one, for characters you don't have, and two, if they're not good two pieces either, if you haven't seen my Matrix guide, you should go check that out. Just be very, very careful. All right, so the final tip is not getting your equipment upgrades every single week. Now, should you really, you'll end up upgrading the slots a little bit. And I know we haven't done an equipment guide. We'll get to that one in just a little bit here. But you're going to have these equipment upgrades that you can buy in order to upgrade your equipment, either via levels or either via stars. Now, in the beginning game, you can level up via levels because you can switch around gear and it'll retain that level. But what I'm going to say here is that you can only buy so many of the materials you see on screen per week. Now, these are the two materials that you're looking to buy, especially from those blue orbs, which you get from spending energy. We showed that a little bit earlier. Now, in the closed beta, in the original launch of the game, you used to only be able to buy like, I think it was like 40 and 5 or some number. So just make sure you take a look at this shop immediately. If there is a limit to this, you need to buy this every week to accelerate your career. Now, as a little bit of a bonus tip, you're going to want to level up your gloves and your boots first. It's going to give you kind of the biggest bang for your buck. And then as a second bonus tip, you want to be able to bring every item up by 5. So you focus on the gloves and the boots first. So you go from 0 to 5, 5 to 10, so on and so on. But then you want to bring the other pieces up because it's going to give you additional stats, as you can see on screen, by completing the set bonus, which is having all the gear in the same variants. So you can see all my gear is level 15, right? All right, that's all I really got. Those are my big tips that if you don't do some of the methodology I just showed there, especially around gear and upgrading all that goodness and getting the gifts, you're going to slow down your progression into the end game, unless you're swiping a decent amount. The final tip I will say is that be careful the weapons that you level. Do not overly invest in your SR weapons. And healers, don't kill me here, but don't overly invest in your healing weapons in the beginning too. You need to be a DPS healer, right? Or you need to be a tank DPS, right? There's no such thing as just being a straight healer. So you're going to want to focus on those damage weapons first, and then you can bring up some of your support weapons. So that's all I got. If you guys liked the video, hit me up in the comments down below. Hopefully that helps you out. Maybe it's not going to make sense until you get into the game, but maybe you can reference it when you come back. I'll have all the chapters. Once again, like and subscribe, and fist bump from me to you.